had somebody hand me, they did an analysis of the stone and found out it's calcium oxalate. And they handed me a low calcium, low oxalate diet. And guess what? I followed it and didn't have one for 5 years, which for me was a pretty good thing. But I'm not a monk, so I had to, you know what's on the list? Chocolate. Well, I'm going to have a kidney stone, aren't I? I mean, it's just I'm not going to have this chocolate or kidney stone. I'll just take chocolate and go get another Tootsie every now and then. But you gotta ask your customer about, what they need, what is important to them, so you can respond. How you respond, again, tells that customer whether or not they've been heard. I was out at the airport and I went to Burger King. I'll go ahead and say it. I thought about trying to call it Burger Bean or Burger Queen or whatever, but you know what I'm talking about. I went to Burger King and I went up, it was at 10:20 in the morning, and I went up to the window and I like their breakfast croissant sandwiches, that. A ham and egg, they're really good. I just like them. I don't know how good they are for you, but that's probably kidney stones for all I know. But I went up there and I said, can I get a ham and egg croissant sandwich? And the woman said, we are not selling breakfast anymore. I said, we quit selling breakfast today. I said, oh, I'm sorry. And I looked at my watch. I said, what time do you quit? She said, 10:30. And I said, what time do you have? Because I my lunch. She goes, it's 10:20. I said, oh, okay, well then I said, misunderstanding, I'll have a ham and egg croissant sandwich right now if I could. She goes, we can't do that. I said, why? She said, we're out of all the breakfast stuff. I said, why are you out of breakfast stuff? Because we're not selling breakfast anymore. Why are we not selling? You see, it's kind of a circular logic maze that she's got me into. Finally, I don't have time to make a customer service convert. It's 10:25 now. I'm just going, okay, I'll tell you what, can I just have a regular hamburger? No kidding. She says, I'm not selling regular hamburgers right now. Why not? Because we don't serve lunch until 10:30. Says, I'm kind of going, well, what are you doing? Is everybody just kind of standing around? I love the word that Mike kept coming back to again and again. Kept on referring to the word execution. Initiate. Execute that thought. I was on a plane. We have a chair. I'm going to grab a chair real quick. I was on a plane back in, I think it was 2009. I was sitting, I was commuting from where I was connecting in Salt Lake City, and I was connecting to Salt Lake City, going into Fresno to do an event there. It was a small little commuter plane. I was sitting in 2C. That was exactly where I was sitting at. And that means I was in the second row, A, B, aisle, C, D. And I had an empty chair right next to me. Y'all like that empty seat next to you? It's like an instant upgrade. Don't you love it? Oh, you can just spread out, you can put all your stuff there, and it takes about that long before you become protective and possessive of that seat. And you start thinking ill thoughts of everybody getting on the plane after that. This guy's getting on, and he could be sitting here. Anybody comes on, you're going, keep going, big boy. There's nothing anything about this. You pretend like you're asleep. Well, after a while, it was a very light flight. The flight attendant said, we're not going to have anybody else on the flight. If y'all want to move around, you can. And right in front of me was a young woman, and she had something called infant in arms. Had her child, which was maybe 10, 11 months old, in her lap. You don't have to buy another seat if you hold the baby in your lap. Right next to her was a fella. He was maybe in his mid-40s. Had sort of a rough look to him, maybe looked a little unkempt, just a little, I don't know, he was just kind of unkempt. It looked like maybe he'd taken some tough roads in his life. And then there was me, right back behind the lady, and the flight attendant came up to the young woman and said, ma'am, I know she had the baby in your arms. Would you like to move, maybe find another seat right next to you so you put the baby down? We have plenty of room. The young woman said, oh, that would be great. I'd love that. She goes, well, I'll tell you what, hold on. We might not need to move you. She turned to the gentleman. She said, would you mind, y'all see where this is headed? Y'all see my little chair going like this right here? She said to the gentleman, she goes, would you mind if I moved you so that she could an extra seat next to her. He goes, oh, no, that'd be fine. Then she turned to me. And I'm just about to cry. And she turned, but I'm smarter than that. I'm a Southern boy, and we're raised right. We're raised to smile and lie, even if we don't feel it. You know, so she's like, well, would you mind if I moved your name? I was like, oh, no, that'd be fine. I thought you would. Come on back. And so he said, come back there. And I said, well, we introduced ourselves. This Rusty sitting next to me. And I said, well, Rusty, what brings you through? He goes, well, I'm going home. Just came back from my dad's funeral. I said, oh, man, I'm sorry about that. And he goes, he was in his 80s, and we expected it. I said, well, were you close to your dad? And he goes, no, I hadn't spoken with my dad for 10 years. I go, wow, do you mind me asking why? He said, because, and he just came out with it, said it just like this, very casual. He said, because I've been a drug addict since I was 14 years old. Very conversational. You know, I was like, oh, where do you go from that? I was like, oh. How's that working for you? And he goes, oh yeah, and there's always been a point of contention between me and my dad. I said, well, I hate that. And he said, my mom told me my dad's dying wish was that I get into rehab. I go, wow, that sounds intense. He said, well, it was an intense week. I stayed all week long with my sister. They live out in the suburbs, and they're middle-class family, and stayed all week long with her, and she said, she begged me to get into rehab and said that if I agreed to do, she would not only find me the very best rehab center available, she would also get a second mortgage on her home to help pay for it. If you know anything about the recidivism rate of drug addicts and alcoholics, you know that's an extraordinary offer. And I said, wow, that's an extraordinary offer. And he said, yeah. I said, well, now, your family really loves you, obviously. Do you have any family back in Fresno? He goes, well, I have a girlfriend I've lived with for about 7 years. Well, I used to have a girlfriend. I said, well, what happened? He said, she dumped me right before I came out here. I said, well, why did she dump you? He said, because she warned me that if I got high and lost another job one more time, she was going to dump me. And I did. I got high. I didn't come into work for several days, and so they fired me. Believe it or not, they fired me. And well, yeah, I believe it. They fired me, and she dumped me. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a place to live. I don't know where I'm going to go. Because this is what I do for a living, because I write to people and talk to them about making positive changes in their life, I had to ask them. We're talking about responding. We're talking about taking initiative. I had to ask them. I said, well, Lester, let me ask you a question. Probably what all of y'all are wondering right now. I said, what would it take for you to take everybody up on these offers and to take that step to initiate, use the power of action? What would it take? And I'll never forget his answer. He kind of laughed. He goes, I don't know, Charles. He goes, I guess one day I'll have my burning bush moment. And I'd never heard that phrase before. Has anybody ever heard burning bush moment before? But immediately I knew what it meant. Pretty easy to figure out. He's saying that one day he's going to have an epiphany. One day all the planets are going to align for him. He's going to have all the financial resources he needs. He's going to have all the positive motivation he needs. He's going to have all the negative motivation he needs. And I wish I could tell you that his answer motivated my inner pity for him, but really it just motivated kind of my inner smart aleck. Does anybody else struggle with the inner smart aleck? Tell me, do you struggle with that? Because it's hard to pull that critter back in once it gets out. Because you want to be nice, don't you? And you struggle, you're like pulling it back in. And so I looked at him and I said, let me ask you, Rusty, let me get this straight. You just came back from your father's funeral with whom you have not spoken in over 10 years because you've been a drug addict since you were 14 years old. Your father's dying wish was that you get into rehab. Your sister begged you all week long to get into rehab, said she would not only find the best rehab center available, but she would also pay for it out of her own pocket. You're going back to no girlfriend, no apartment, no friends, no job in Fresno on top of all that. You were seated right up here, but somehow you got moved next to a guy who travels 100,000 miles talking to people about making positive changes in their life. If you were to have a burning bush moment, what do you think that might look like? Just saying. My point is, initiate. Don't be one of those people. Don't be one of the people that just has a good idea. Oh yeah, I thought of doing that. Don't be one of those people that just has a warm fuzzy. Oh yeah, that was really neat. Initiate. Execute. Step up. Stand up. Own up. Be one of those people. Be a James O'Neill. You don't have to have a James O'Neill personality or heaven forbid, even a Charles Marshall personality. This is too much to work with right here. But you can, in your own way, you step up. You initiate. When you see something, I used to have a boss. And he told me this principle. He said ownership is when you see a piece of trash on the ground at work, pick it up. Metaphorically, physically, literally, pick it up. Be the person. Be the person that steps up and says, oh, you know what? Let me get that for you. Before anybody else has to do that. Be the Bill Porter. Hey, I'll go. Send me into the worst territory. That's how you begin to validate your customer's decision to do business with you. Because I'm of the opinion that good customer service doesn't even begin until there's a problem. Y'all get that? I rent cars a lot. And a lot of times, I don't have anything against the company Enterprise rental car, but a lot of times they train their people to ask the same questions, and you return the car and they say, sir, how was your customer service? And I'm going, and in my mind it's hard for me to answer because I'm thinking, just somebody handing you the money, or you handing somebody the money and them giving you a candy bar, that's not customer service. Customer service is when you have a problem. I had a customer service problem the other day. My wife and I were walking our dog. We have a Chihuahua. Does anybody own a Chihuahua in here? Out of curiosity, anybody own a Chihuahua? Well, I wouldn't admit it either. They're nasty little mean rat dogs. Really, they're mean. Y'all know Chihuahuas? They're mean. They would kill you in your sleep if they could reach your bed. And this dog is just mean. If I fell on the floor and I stayed down there for like 5 seconds, he'd rip out my trigger. He's that mean. You know what his name is? Precious. They're always these cute little things. They're always named Bobo or Tootsie or Precious. And my wife, she loves this dog. He's already eaten off a couple of her fingers, but she's like, I love that baby. Love that. Ow! There goes another one. Love that baby. We're out walking Precious, the demonic mutant rat dog. And we go by a video store. It's like a Blockbuster, one of the ones still open in the Atlanta area. And we go by a Blockbuster video. And my wife says, ooh, you know what, honey? I want to go get one of those videos, those motivational videos you're always talking to people about. That the Bill Porter, that Door-to-Door, starring William H. Macy. I'm going to watch that. I said, all right, honey, you're my customer. Let's go. We'll make that happen for you. She goes, oh, wait, we can't do that. I said, well, why not? She said, because we got the dog with us and they don't allow dogs in Blockbuster video. I said, well, let's just come back later. She goes, no, wait. You're just a big-time customer service speaker. You're always talking to people about evaluating, responding, and validating. I'm your customer. You're over there always telling people, I'm your customer. This is your opportunity to give me some good customer service and come up with a solution for me. I said, one occurs immediately. Why don't we just leave the dog in the parking lot and come back later and see how that works? How about that? She goes, no, you got to come up with a real one. I said, no problem. So I put on my sunglasses and I said, hand me the dog's leash. Stay with me, it gets better. And we start walking into the store and I'm holding the dog's leash, and sure enough, customer service problem, the manager runs up to me. If you want attention quick, just do something you're not supposed to do in the store, right? The manager runs up to me and says, excuse me, sir, you can't bring your dog in here. I said, well, why not? It's against our policy. We don't allow dogs in Blockbuster video. I said, oh, you don't understand. This is my CNI dog right here. He goes, sir, they don't train Chihuahuas as CNI dogs. I said, they gave me a Chihuahua? I feel a little bad about that. I don't know why. You know, good. This is one of my principles of good customer service doesn't mean you never make a mistake. Good character doesn't mean you never make a mistake. The character of your character and the character of NCN Associates does not mean that you don't ever blow it. What determines your character is what you do about it. Do you step up? You man up. I know that's we have mostly women here, but I mean that figuratively. You understand the context. Do you man up? Do you own up? Do you step up? Do you fix it? Or do you run and hide? You know, people do that. Oh, I'm not gonna own that. You know people like that. Instances are occurring to you right now when something happened, everybody starts, well, I didn't have anything to do with it. Or do you say, yeah, you know what? I see that now. I'm gonna let me take care of that. Here, give that to me. I'll handle it. Ooh, that's when you win somebody's confidence. That's when you win their trust. And that's when people attribute to you that valued commodity character. I only have really one character joke. When you talk about character, the room gets real solemn. So I do have one character joke. Does anybody want to hear my character joke? Anybody? One lady in the back wants to hear my character joke. The story goes that there's a man driving through rural Georgia, and he's been driving a long time. He's on these back roads, and he sees this sign that says "Talking Dog for Sale." He thinks, well, I got a little time, I got to stop for this. So he pulls the car over, walks up to the house, and this fella's sitting on the porch. He said, excuse me, I noticed your sign about talking dog for sale. Is that for real? The guy says, sure is. He goes, do you mind if I see the dog? No problem. Well, I'll walk you on back. He walked on back. There's this dog sitting around the side of the house, and the guy said, well, he felt a little stupid, but the man said, go ahead, try talking to him. He goes, can you talk? To his surprise and amazement, the dog said, I sure can. He goes, wow, well, what's your story? He said, well, when I was just a puppy, they found out I could talk. And sure, as soon as anything, the CIA came knocking on my door to recruit me. And they trained me and they sent me to the Middle East to sit at the feet of kings and princes to spy on them. And I reported back all the information that I got to the U.S. government, and it helped the U.S. government form policy and make some strategic moves. He said after a while I got bored with that, and I enlisted with the FBI. They trained me. They sent me into New York City, and I infiltrated the mob. And I listened in on conversations. And because everybody just talks around a dog, and I just listened all the time. I got some valuable information. They used my information to indict like about 10 mob bosses. After a while, I was wounded in the course of duty, and I retired. I was given a healthy pension, and I retired. Now I'm writing my memoirs and traveling the world, talking to world leaders. The man was like, wow, that's amazing. He turned to the owner. He said, well, how much do you want for this dog? You selling it? The man goes, yep. How much do you want for him? He said, $1. He goes, why are you selling this dog for $1? He said, because he's a liar. He never did any of that. Your character counts. People are watching how you handle problems. Can I give you a hint? The shortest route I know to poverty is arguing with the customer. Yes, you can reason. Yes, you have to manage expectations, especially in the coming years. With the new healthcare reform, and we're all gonna have to manage some expectations. I love that you guys are not running and hiding, because you're figuring out, you're gonna say, you know what, we're gonna figure out how to work this thing, and we're gonna prosper. I love that. But it means you're gonna have to manage some expectations. I was talking to a woman, a vice president with Blue Cross Blue Shield out in Arizona last week, or week before last, and she said that the week after that legislation was passed, somebody in one of their offices came into one of their offices and said, why am I still getting a bill? Why am I still getting billed? Because that health care reform was just passed, I shouldn't be getting billed. So, yeah, expectations are going to have to be managed, but how you manage them will determine what kind of customer service person you are. Do you argue with them? I learned, let me see if I can't paint that a little bit for you. I learned a poem a while back that's been, I remember forever. I love this poem. It's an epitaph, actually. It says this: here lies the body of old John Quay, who died defending his right of way. His cause was just, his will was strong, but he's just as dead as if he were wrong. Y'all get that? There's old John Quay. I don't know if he's having a bad day, if he's always like that. It really doesn't matter. His experience with that semi-truck coming the other way was the same, regardless of whether it was just a bad day for him. Arguing with the customer, arguing with an 18-wheeler when you've got the right, no, I've got the right of way, they have to yield. I don't have the yield sign. It's just a path to destruction. Here's what I think. Tim, would you stand up one more time when we have it demonstrate this? Hold that change right like that. Hold it up. All right. Now hold up this one too. Now, y'all see Tim right here? Now I am, what angle would you say my body's at right now? Maybe about 40, 30, 40, something like that. Did you see what I was doing to Tim right there? Have a seat, Tim. You did a great job. You know what, Tim? I'm going back on my thing. I am giving you something after all. There you go. Yeah, give me a hand. I'm temporarily revoking my hair rule, and I'm giving you something. So you see what I was doing? I was pushing him. I was pushing him. Was it obvious to everyone in here that I was pushing him? Did anybody think I wasn't pushing him? Now, did I tell Tim that I was going to push him? No. But did you notice what Tim did? He pushed back. To the point that I could incline my body at 30, 40 degree, whatever that is, 40, 50 degree, I don't know. And he was pushing back so I could support myself. It is human nature. When pushed, people will push back. You know what push stands for? I said, why push people? It stands for provoking unnecessary, senseless hostility. Why do it? Why provoke unnecessary, senseless hostility? Why do that? Why not say, okay, I've got a few ideas for you. I think I've got a way to work this up. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I learned this when my wife and I first got married. We had 4 Precious, the demonic mutant rat dog. My wife had Fluffy the cat. Do I have any cat lovers in here? Any cat lovers? Okay. How many cats do you have? 2. That's the right answer. Anybody else? Anybody else have? How many cats do you have? 1. That's still acceptable. Anybody have more than 2? Who has the most cats? Anybody have? That's good. You're not going to be the neighborhood cat lady. You're not going to be that lady. Well, my wife had Fluffy, the kitty, for 12 years before we got married, and she brought the cat into our marriage. And she would call. She loved this cat. You love your cats? They're like your baby. You can give them to it. It's sort of like Precious the mutant rat dog. You don't care.
I won't say cats in their histories like to the kid. Show them what you're in.
I love your indifference. Your indifference toward all your pets is inspiring. It really is. I don't care. You know, I don't care. How do you get that? I don't know. But you see, but my wife, it was her passion. She loved this cat. She'd call home when she was at a business meeting like this, and she'd ask about the cat. She'd like, hey, honey, how's Fluffy doing? I'm like, oh, he's fine. What's he doing? Oh, he's watching Wheel of Fortune. He's up $400 right now. I don't know. One time she called, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. One time she called home, she goes, hey, honey, how's Fluffy? I said, he's dead. I know, it seems easy to see that now, but I didn't know that. I was a young man, just got married, I didn't know. She goes, what do you mean he's dead? I said, well, what I mean by that is he died. I don't know, he died, his heart stopped beating, he's dead. So, and she goes, well, is that how you're going to tell me? You're going to tell me that my baby died? You're going to tell me that he's dead just like that? So, well, how would you have wanted me to tell you? She goes, well, you could have softened it a little bit. How do you soften that concept? How do you soften dead? Dead's pretty finite, right? Dead's dead. So she goes, well, the first time I called, you could have said the cat is up on the roof and we cannot get him down. We've called the fire department. They were rushing to the scene to help. Yeah. She said the second time I called, you could have said that the fire department sent a ladder truck. They extended it up on the top of the roof. The fireman was crawling out across the ridge bend right as they got to Fluffy. Fluffy got spooked, lost his balance, and plummeted to the ground. We called the best emergency animal veterinary clinic in the state of Georgia, and they sent a helicopter. They life flighted him from the cul-de-sac. I go, wow, yeah, I could have done that. She said the third time I called, you could have said that 3 of the best animal veterinary surgeons in the state of Georgia operated on Fluffy for over 5 hours. Did everything they could. When they ran out of cat parts, they started using other animals like a chicken, a lizard, a duck, whatever they had laying around. And finally, I'm sorry, but Fluffy just didn't pull through. I go, wow. I get it, right? She's sending me a message. Not what you say, it's how you say it. I go, wow, I get it, honey. I'm so sorry. I see now, I messed up. I promise to never do that again. That is insensitive of me and rude. I'm sorry, honey. Take ownership. See what I'm saying? You take ownership. She goes, oh, honey, I forgive you. I know you didn't mean anything. I said, well, I didn't, but I'm never going to do it to you again. She goes, well, tell me, how's my mama taking the news? I said, your mother is up on the roof, and we cannot get her down. The women didn't like the mother joke. They didn't like that. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I was in a toy store, toy store. My son got some money. He was 8 then. He got some money for Christmas from an uncle. He wanted to go to school. He said, Dad, can you take me to a large toy store, National Toys Beat Us? How about that? Toys Beat Us. There you go. That was subtle, wasn't it? He said, can you take me there to get, he wanted to get a gun. He wanted to, cowboy gun. Anybody grow up with like cowboy guns? And so that's what he wanted. And so sure, I said, sure, son, we'll take you there. And so he's been bugging me about it for like 2 weeks, and I thought, all right, son, let's go on up there. We go on in there, and I maybe I'm different from most guys in this respect, but if I can't find my way around, I just ask somebody, because I don't want to spend my whole day looking around for this gun. I went up to a sales associate. I said, let me ask you a question. Where can I find your guns? Man, immediately kind of had a little smirk. He goes, sir, Toys B S doesn't carry guns. I said, oh, really? He goes, no, sir. That's our policy. We've been like that for a number of years. We do not sell any guns. It's part of our policy. Well, now I feel like I stepped on the man's religion or something. I'm going, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't, now I'm apologizing to him. I'm the customer. I'm sorry. Who's the customer? Who's paying money? I don't care what your stand is. I don't make you believe in that. Maybe don't. I don't care. Point is, I was a customer. I get that. I understand your viewpoint. I said, okay, I'm sorry. He goes, that's fine. And so I walked down from me to Tim right there. And I walked, and there's an end cap. You know what an end cap is? And it's a huge display of Nerf guns. So I picked it up. I picked one up. And I carried it back. I'm going to do this one right here. And I carried it back over to the sales associate. I said, excuse me, you had just mentioned that you don't carry guns. I found this over there. And I'm wondering if you could you help me out? And he said, oh, well, that's a Nerf gun. We carry those. I said, okay. Now we're being pedantic. I'm going, now, let me ask you, do you have anything else that would fit into this general gunnish type category? Oh, no, sir. We don't carry guns. As a matter of fact, if you can find one in the store, I'll buy it for you. Now I'm on a mission. I go down, and I find this little thing. It's called the Space Blaster. It goes, beep, 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 but it looks like this. What's that look like? A gun. So I take it back over to him. I said, excuse me, sir. I found these items in your store. Do you have anything else that would generally fall into that category? Could not bring him around. No, sir, we don't have. They probably had half a dozen items that my son would have been happy with. Here's the thing, anybody have a son under the age